Welcome back everybody to Sword and Musket, the channel where we discuss and enjoy antique and collectible weapons, including everything up to bolt action licensed pieces from World War II. So here we're going back to early days of the Tower Flintlock, namely the Sea Service pistol, which I have 3 examples of the long barrel and 1 example of the short barrel pistol. The short barrel was in fact the later model, whereas the longer one was the earlier model. The idea being that the longer your barrel, the more time you have powder to burn and gain accuracy. Considering they're smooth bore, accuracy is a little bit of a moot point. They came into their use really when the cannons had been fired and the ships were coming up alongside each other, and we were talking about boarding parties fighting their way across the deck, as in all the famous paintings of Trafalgar and other such scraps with France and Spain, etc. So you've got the 12-inch barrel, which is the long one, and the 9-inch barrel. They're both in 54 caliber, and they were used for a period of about 200 years. It was a pretty tumultuous period, and many wars and scraps, they were being fought out by the British Empire, so-called, under various kings and queens. These pistols are what we call tower flintlocks, in that they were all finally assembled in the Tower of London and are marked as such. Let's just take one for an example to have a look at. So we have got tower on the lock behind the cocking piece. We have the crown, beautifully marked crown, and GR for George Rex. On its side you have a crow's foot and a crown. That is the standard marking. Those are the standard markings that you would expect to see on a British Tower flintlock. You'll also see proof markings on the other side from the London Proof House for black powder. And then you will start to see other marks, storekeeper's marks and inspection marks over the balance of the piece. This belt hook is also marked as a crown with a clear 6 for its inspection mark here. There are marks in the timber, and this one even has TG marked into the back here. These are maybe storekeeper or issue marks. There's another possible marking there. Famously, or one to look for, is the marking here below the apron, 180. Now I can't read that, it could be a 3. Crown, crow's foot, always stamped on the back here. So we have this single piece 12-inch barrel with a separate hut on the back, which is lined up by a register mark. There's another crown marking there. Flintlock, 2 positions. One to fill the priming pan. There's the hole where the priming explosion will travel through and set off the main charge. Fill your priming pan. Once you've filled the main charge, you fill your priming pan, close that down. That's ready to go when this is pulled back to the second position, fully cocked. At the moment it's half cocked. The flint, which is held in this jaw, will strike on the frizzen, causing these markings, causing sparks to drop in and ignite the pistol. Let's just see if this one will be playing ball eventually. No, didn't see a spark there. They quite often didn't go off. You get about 30 strikes out of each flint. And it was the flint knapper's job to get them the right shape. So they would strike and cause a good spark to fall in and ignite the priming powder. The rest of the pistol consists of a wooden ramrod on all the long ones. If you take out the ramrod and look in the channel beneath, there are even more inspector's marks there. Now that is worth seeing when you're trying to buy a genuine antique British Sea Service pistol. You want to see those marks there. Other marks which turn up are these crudely chiselled strikes. And they are assembly marks, which in fact will be repeated on the inside of the lock and these main screws, showing that the pistol has remained in one piece all the time. We have talked about that in other videos, but this is just a quick look at the Sea Service in a very generalised way. So you have, once you are aboard the French ship, you have one shot. You take your shot at pretty close quarters, and then all you really have left is a cudgel or a cosh, hence the heavy, swollen end of this. That across someone's chops is going to send them flying. These pistols were also carried by shore parties when they went ashore trying to round up crew for the next voyage, because the British Royal Navy relied heavily on grabbing people and press ganging them into service. So you get one of these across the back of your noggin on the way outside the pub, and you're probably going to wake up on a tender halfway out in the harbour, being transported to a ship to spend the next God knows how many years doing the British Navy's work for them as a regular sailor or seaman. It was preferable to end up in the merchant navy, far less dangerous, but also better paid. Let's have a look at the other pistols that we've got here. Once again, tower marked, GR, nice and clear. Final marking there, crow's foot, crown. Turn it round, nice clear, GR, proof marks, cross scepters. There's the final storekeeper's mark that I mentioned before. Once again, another crown. This one, unfortunately, at the moment is missing a belt hook. Oh, the belt hook, by the way, was purely for carrying the pistol, a large hook that would secure behind a sash or a belt. As you only had one shot, it was better to carry as many as possible if you got the choice. So you look at these very carefully, and proof marks show up, or inspection marks appear as you study them in different lights. Let's pull the rod out the channel. Yep, there again. Well, the acceptance marks there. Pop the rod back in. Brass fittings all the way around. This was the pistol that I covered in my Facebook story of repairing. I don't think it looks too bad there. It had a lot of damage because the butt cap was loose. This one hints at a little bit more history. Once again, absolutely as expected, tower marked, lock plate, GR, crown, crow's foot, sprung frizzen, two position cocking. Let's try again for a spark, because this one just happens to have one in it. Yep, oh, that would have gone off beautifully. A bit of a vice mark there, so somebody's been in there and taken the hut off before to clean it or service it. These things would happen. There's the barrel proof marks. Once again, the hook for going over a sash or a belt. Now, what's quite interesting about this one is that, hang on a minute, let's just, before we get into that, have a look for, I haven't got my glasses on, but I believe the traces of the mark are there, markings. They're a very simple pistol, beautiful to hold, perfect to point, no sights of course, so what we're talking about is pointing by aim, by the length of the arm at close quarters. Now, what's different about this one? Well, quite nice in that seems to be a story here. There is a figure, a number, meekly dotted in there. I believe that someone was told to mark this pistol up for a certain deck on the ship, and then he was told to do it again, make it look bigger, make it look clearer. So I believe that is 9, number 9, lower deck. These would all be stored and recorded on the ship before it left port. Now, the last one was a development in that the barrel was shortened. This is the 9-inch barrel. It's more akin to one of the land service pistols. Now, considering that these were the latter arrangement, it's strange to note that you can find many more long barrel pistols than you can find short barrel pistols. If I went out looking for a short barrel sea service, that would be difficult for me to find. Once again, marked up tower, GR, it's a bit more worn. And then the crow's foot, the crown on the other side, nice clear proof marks. There's a crown there, another crown there, lacking its belt hook, but obviously did have one, or this plate was made to take a belt hook. Now, this cap is ever so slightly loose, and that's what causes the damage, because the end grain is running up to the cap if you whack one of these over somebody's head that's joining the Navy, no, he didn't know about it when he went out that evening, it's going to cause damage here. And that's what had happened to the other pistol. You'll note it has a steel ramrod. And the one thing to look for in these pistols, when you're looking at a short one, is that the cross pins are in the right place. If you just merely chop down a long pistol, your cross pins will be in the wrong place. But in this example, they're in the right place to hold it in position. Brass fittings, as per usual. Still have the ability to whack someone over the back of the head with that, or around the chops when you're boarding another ship. I certainly would not like to run into that in anger. This one's quite nice because it's got a very clear BO mark, and that's not a reference to the gentleman's hygiene, but a reference to the Board of Ordnance with the crow's foot. So there you have it. We'll get into firing these later on in the year, but just to show you some of the ins and outs of the Sea Service pistol. If you enjoyed that, please come back again, click like or subscribe, or have a look at other write-ups, etc. on the website, which is at www.byswordandmusket.co.uk. Thanks for watching.